Today we're going to continue with My Brother Martin by Christine King Ferris. Then there was the time Mother Dear decided that her children should all learn to play the piano. I didn't mind too much, but ML and AD preferred being outside to being stuck inside with our piano teacher, Mr. Mann, who would rap your knuckles with a ruler just for playing the wrong notes. Well, one morning, ML and AD decided to loosen the legs on the piano bench so we didn't have to practice. We didn't tell Mr. Mann, and when he sat, crash, down he went. But mostly we were good, obedient children, and ML did learn to play a few songs on the piano. He even went off to sing with our mother a time or two. Given his love for singing and music, I'm sure he could have become as good a musician as our mother had his life not called him down a different path. But that's just what his life did. My brothers and I grew up a long time ago, back in a time when certain places in our country had unfair laws that said it was right to keep black people separate because of our skin was darker, and our ancestors had been captured in far-off Africa and brought to America as slaves. And here he is playing the piano. Atlanta, Georgia, the city in which we were growing up, had those laws. Because of those laws, my family rarely went to the picture shows or visited Grant Park with its famous cyclorama. In fact, to this very day, I don't recall ever seeing my father on a streetcar because of those laws and the indignity that went with them. Daddy preferred keeping ML and AD and me close to home where we'd be protected. We lived in a neighborhood in Atlanta that's now called Sweet Auburn. It's named for Auburn Avenue and the street that ran in front of our house. On our side of the street stood two-story frame houses similar to the one we lived in. Across it crouched a line of one-story row houses and a store owned by a white family. And here's a picture. When we were young, all the children along Auburn Avenue played together, even the two boys whose parents owned the store. And since our house was a favorite gathering place, those boys played with us in the backyard. And ran with ML and AD to the firehouse on the corner where they watched the engines and the firemen. The thought of not playing with those kids because they were different, because they were white and we were black, never entered our minds. They were just kids being kids. Well, one day, ML and AD went to get their playmates from across the street, just as they had done 100 times before, but they came home alone. The boys had told my brothers that they couldn't play together anymore because AD and ML were Negroes, and that was it. Shortly afterward, the family sold the store and moved away. We never saw or heard from them again. Looking back, I realized it was only a matter of time before the generations of cruelty and injustice that Daddy and Mother Dear and Mama and Aunt Ida had been shielding us from finally broke through. But back then, it was a crushing blow that seemed to come out of nowhere. Why do white people treat colored people so mean? ML asked Mother Dear afterwards. And with me and ML and AD standing in front of her, trying our best to understand, Mother Dear gave the best reason behind it all. Her words explained the streetcars our families avoided and the whites-only sign that kept us from the elevator at City Hall. Her words told why there were parks and museums that black people could not visit, and why some restaurants refused to serve us, and why hotel rooms wouldn't give us rooms, and why theaters would only allow us to watch their picture shows from the balcony. But her words also gave us hope. She simply answered, because they don't understand that everyone is the same, but someday it will be better. And my brother ML looked up into our mother's face and said the words I remember to this day. He said, Mother Dear, one day I'm going to turn this world upside down. And that's where we're going to stop for today.